I have you, Miss Dodd. That is absolutely wonderful, and we will go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for taking time this afternoon to be a part of our federal programs fall meeting. This is always a wonderful time of the year for us. It gives us an opportunity to get feedback and insight from local community members, partners, and liaisons within the community that help us provide a great education for the children and a great experience for the community in Anderson School District 3. So I'd like to just some housekeeping stuff. Remind everybody that to keep your mic muted unless you need to address the meeting. There'll be an opportunity at the end of every presentation. We'll go through Title 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and talk about some of the intricate parts of each one of those federal programs. Feel free to ask a question at any time. We'll try to address those questions, but also at the end of the meeting, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions as well. So if you want to reserve all your questions at the end, that format will work for us as well. But thank you again for attending. And at this time, our superintendent, Kathy Hipp, will bring greetings to the group.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nixon. I appreciate all of your work in federal programs to make sure that we stretch every dollar as far as we can to make sure it goes into the classroom. Cheryl, I appreciate your work. And of course, our principals and staff, you do a phenomenal job. And so I just thank everyone for being on the call today and providing input, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we make sure that we're making a difference in children's lives. So thanks again, and I'll let you all get started.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hipp. And while Ms. Hipp is here, the final process that we do for federal programs, for any program to be submitted to the State Department for their review and approval, is the signature of the superintendent. So she is intimately involved in this process and understands the nuances that are involved, and also the programmatic requirements for us to receive the money. Federal dollars do come with federal requirements, and we just appreciate your support and appreciate your involvement in that process. So thank you. Next slide, please. All right, we'll start off with the program that has the most funds hooked to it. That is Title I. All of the headings on each one of the slides for the federal programs has a hyperlink that will take you to a description of what that program is about and all the federal and state information about that program. So you can see that in 2025, we received $962,616.35, which we were blessed with an increase. The state allocations and how that money comes down, the state receives their entire allocation, and then it is divided up among the districts based on population and the percentage of that population that falls under the free and reduced categorization or falls below the poverty level. So when you look at that, immediate interpretation could be that our poverty increased, but it's always a sliding rule based on the poverty that you can find from one district to the other. So while our poverty index has decreased slightly as a district, other districts have had decreases as well, and that money increases for us. The money that comes to the state has been fairly consistent. So that's just basically a differentiation between the allocations from year to year based on how all the districts fall out with their percentage poverty. The lion's share of money always goes to salaries and benefits. I don't think there's any other use of funds that can be better serving for students than actual teachers in the classrooms. And one of the best parts about this presentation and this program is you'll hear from each one of the elementary schools that receive Title I funds, and they're going to talk about the amazing things that are going on in their schools. And it's always a reality check for me just to hear how amazing the use of these funds are and how great the programmatic impacts these funds have in our schools. Right now, if you look across our district, there are 6 teaching positions and 3 interventionist positions that would not be available in our elementary schools without the influx of these Title I funds. So you can see that's where the lion's share of the money is. In addition to those teacher and interventionist positions that the schools will talk about momentarily, there's also administrative cost. A portion of the salary, 0.50 of Cheryl Smith's salary, is paid for out of Title I funds, and Cheryl does way more than 50% of her salary worth of work in processing all the paperwork and helping with the programmatic requirements. And then 0.21 of a parent liaison FTE is paid for out of the salary and benefits portion as well. Supplies and materials, The definition of supplies and materials now includes Chromebooks, interactive panels, computers. So you see that $33,622.17 are allocated towards those items in addition to just traditional items with consumables that you can imagine would be spent in the classroom. That number is decreased from last year, but I can also say that the district has worked to take all of those expenditures. At one point in time, our one-to-one initiatives in the elementary schools were all funded through federal dollars. Now, we've worked hard to remove that burden out of the Title I plans and make it more equitable. So now all one-to-one initiatives are paid for at the district level for K through 12, which is a much more equitable allocation of those federal funds. Purchase services, this could be professional development where we send teachers to learn better practices in their classrooms, administrators for them to learn how to better serve their schools, and then also computer program licenses that they will allude to later on in the program. Indirect cost, up to 4.5% of the total allocation of $962,000 can be taken for indirect costs. And that is used to fund anything that can be used for the educational environment, from power to water to copying supplies. Now, those aren't earmarked specifically for any one of those line items, but that entire amount of money, $25,000, is taken off the top so that it can be used to help fund those costs that aren't captured within the school plans. You can see down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can click on that. That takes you to the Anderson 3 Title I page, which is very specific to information just for our Anderson 3 community and families. Next slide, please. Wilder had a report, and it was basically a quantitative and qualitative mixed method study that they did on the involvement of parents and how it impacts student achievement. And it was just absolutely amazing to read that study and see how impactful a parent's involvement with their student's education has on the student achievement and the student experience. And a lot of people recognize and they think parent involvement involves sitting down periodically and helping out with homework or checking parent portal or things like that. And we work very, very hard at Anderson 3 and allocate funds and have a position specific to parent involvement. We truly do believe that if we can cultivate a good parent-student school experience in the early childhood and elementary grades, that will pay dividends down the road and will also help with the involvement of parent and their child and that culture that's built in the early childhood and elementary grades for their middle school and high school experience. And we are blessed to have a parent involvement coordinator to make sure that those activities and opportunities are consistent among all 3 elementary schools. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Melissa Davis, and she can speak about the amazing things we have going on in parent involvement in Anderson 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. At the beginning of the year, it's really important for us to share our Title I information with our parents and our community. So some ways that we do this is we send home flyers in every student's Friday folder. We send flyers home at back to school nights in each elementary school. We post flyers on our social media pages for the district, our district webpage. We send out thrill share messages, and we also post it in our Peach Jar. The flyer kind of explains what Title I does for their child's school. It also discusses the parent involvement policy and the school parent compact, and where they both can be found at any time throughout the year. We also welcome feedback from our parents and our community members, and we provide a contact there so they can share any suggestions that they might have in regards to the parent compact and the parent involvement policy. This information is also made available and shared at parent conferences that teachers have throughout the year, through home visits with our K-4 teachers, school meetings, and also different community events. The schools also host school-wide events to encourage parent involvement and family literacy, such as Trunk or Treat, and you can see some pictures on the slide here. That is at Star and at Iva. We also did it at Flat Rock as well. We have literacy nights, stream nights, and at these events, each child received a book to take home to help with literacy at home. Also, our Title I information is distributed during this time too. A lot of times the elementary school principals have their Title I meetings during these times so we can catch more parents. Next slide, please. Also in our elementary schools, we have 2 K-4 classrooms in each elementary school. And as this may be for some students and parents their first experience in a structured classroom and school setting, we strive to gain that parental involvement and increase family literacy in the homes starting at this young age. This year we've hosted Muffins for Mom and Donuts with Dad. Each family received a book and family extension activities to take home and complete. Each school had a really good turnout and lots of participation. We also have implemented the Raising a Reader program at each elementary school. This program sends books and activities home bi-weekly with our K-4 students. It helps to encourage the parent-child interactions and parent involvement using literacy books and activities in the home. Another way we reach out to support family literacy is through the GED program. We provide parenting tips and strategies to help promote positive behavior. We also work with our high school students to serve a group of teen parents where we are sharing parenting tips and the importance of reading to their child. We send resources home to use with their young children. So parent involvement is a crucial part to making our schools and our district successful. I would encourage you to please take time to look over the parent involvement policy and our school parent compact, and feel free to share any suggestions you might have. You can share those with Dr. Nixon, who is our district's federal programs coordinator, at any time throughout the year. We make changes anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Does anyone have any questions or any comments concerning our parent involvement program? Next slide, please. One of the other programs is funded through Title I through the district set-aside money is our McKinney-Vento program. This program is designed in federal law to serve students that are recognized as homeless. Now, the federal definition of homeless means any student that doesn't have a permanent nighttime residence. So a lot of folks, whenever you have conversations about homeless, they think of someone living in a car or living in a tent, but that's not necessarily so, because the majority of our families are considered doubled up. And that classification means that a family may be living with a friend, so, or another family member, or generational housing, so that you have a grandmother, a mother, and then a daughter, all living in the same household and potentially having kids going to our school district. Right now, according to the federal definition and applying that rule, we have 105 students are categorized as homeless in Anderson 3. And in that captured number are also some students that are living in situations that are what we initially alluded to, maybe living in an automobile. Those are actually our families that we triage and we work with very closely and very quickly, trying to get them help and resources that they need to get them out of a situation of homelessness that would be considered dangerous. All families that fill out their student residency statement through the online process, if they check any of the categories that would mean that they potentially were doubled up or living in any situation that might be considered homeless, we reach out to those families and we provide them information about their rights and the services that we can provide. And they go through a process, usually working with our counselors and working here at the district level to provide them a variety of services, from gas cards to go back to their schools of origin, or for help with transportation to and from school, school supplies, food, clothing. You can let your imagination run wild with how many needs there are out there. And our team and our people that work with these families, they go above and beyond trying to provide resources. We do have a specific amount of money that's set aside in district set aside in federal funding through Title I, but we also, the lion's share of money that comes to help these families comes from private donations through churches and community organizations that reach out to us, and they've just been so gracious in providing us with more resources than we can find students to receive them. And that was not the case several years ago. So we've worked hard to cultivate those relationships. and worked hard to have resources to be able to provide those students. So that program has grown exponentially for serving students that are classified as McKinney-Vento. And we've also extended that program to help out in some academic ways as well. If you'd like to learn more about McKinney-Vento, you can click on the hyperlink at the top of the slide. That'll take you to what the federal definition is, as well as the policies and procedures link. I encourage anyone that's listening, take an opportunity to click on those policies and procedures. As Ms. Davis said, we're always reviewing those, and we're constantly making changes to tweak and provide the best possible opportunity for those families that are already living in a less than desirable situation. So at this time, the middle school and the high school will be talking specifically to an after-school program that is funding through a grant that our team wrote, and talk about the amazing things they have going on there.
All right. Thank you, David. Our after-school program, as we talked about, is geared towards providing support for our McKinney-Vento students, but it is open to everyone. Currently at the high school, our program meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We meet year-round due to end-of-course testing that happens in the fall and the spring. We provide, through our grant, bus transportation, which was the key for us, is being able to provide transportation in the afternoon home for those students that needed to be here. We focus on math, English, science, and social studies, which is what we consider our core subject areas. And our core teachers actually instruct in the program each Tuesday and Thursday. So the students are able to come get help from their current teacher or another teacher in the department. We found that to be very effective as well. So this is the way our McKinney-Vento after school program has helped serve our students here at Crescent High School.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. I'll just kind of jump off of what he was saying. Similar to the high school, we operate on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but ours operates February to April because ours is a little more targeted to SC Ready preparation, in particular focusing on math, reading, and writing. We meet until 5 p.m. Bus transportation is provided for any student who needs it. We also provide a snack to those students because it's the end of the day and we want to keep them engaged and keep them going, so they always enjoy that. But like Mr. Roberts said, that is taught by all certified folks. And myself and Miss Wilson were able to get into the action last year, which is great because it was able to get us back in the classroom, kind of get us back to our roots. And so it's great because kids get to see us in a little bit of a different light as well. But I think last year we had around 100 kids on average, which really, if you think about it, is a little under a sixth of our population, with a focus on McKinney-Vento students. And so, you know, it was great, and we look forward to hosting that again.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. If I can just add some information that those guys have done a fantastic job with that program. The after-school grant covers salary and fringe, cost of transportation, and helps out with providing the snack in the afternoon. You heard both of them mention that it's targeted towards McKinney-Vento students, but there is no labeling of those students. That's the reason it's open up to the entire student population, is not to have any negative connotations. We try our best to keep anonymity whenever it comes to students that are suffering from homelessness. As you can imagine, there could be some negative connotations and some issues for them not wanting that label on them from a day-to-day basis. So we try our best to include all students there, and they're receiving the help as well. And the schools go above and beyond for those families that are classified as homeless, and they work very, very hard contacting those families through phone calls, letters, multiple times contacting them, trying to get them to come in and participate in the program. So thank you for the work. The data that's coming out of it showing that it is being effective and being successful. And the grant was a 3-year grant, and I wrote the grant again for another iteration, waiting to hear back if the grant's funded for another 3 years, and truly hope that it is, because it is something that's really, really helpful in serving our students at the middle and high school. And as you can imagine, an issue, this dovetails into the next slide that Mr. Roberts and Mr. Coates will be speaking on. But anybody that's suffering from homelessness, you can imagine that absenteeism is an issue. It's tough just to satisfy the basic requirements day to day that you need for life, and then trying to make it to school on time and keep up with your work. You can see how that would be a cumbersome ask and lift for any child. So this time it kind of important that we focus on our chronic absenteeism and some strategies we're doing to offset that, not only for McKinney-Vento students, but for an epidemic for all middle and high school students as well.
Thank you, Dr. Nixon. With our chronic absenteeism at the high school level, we have implemented a couple of programs that are really geared at helping with this. We have our school-wide mentoring program where every adult in our building serves as a mentor to students, our McKinney-Vento students, as well as our other students that are having trouble with attendance and tardies. This is a very targeted program. We meet monthly. We have boards that have the names of every student, and the most important thing we do is we start in 9th grade and we track every student that is on track to graduate. And if they are off track, or whether it's by grades, attendance, or tardies, we actually have them on that board, and they have a mentor. We work through our intervention conferences. We meet with counselors, parents, administrators, involve the SRO when needed, and make sure that we're communicating on the front end to work with truancy. But a lot of times we have kids that have attendance issues that affect their grades that may not even be listed as truant. So we have to watch both sides of that. And that's kind of how we're addressing some things with the chronic absenteeism at the high school level at this time.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry about that, Dr. Nixon. I was just going to say,
Nope.
I'll echo what Mr. Roberts was saying. We are doing our best to basically mirror what they are doing at the high school so that our kids and our families can be prepared for when they do make that jump to the high school. So it's one of those, I won't go point by point, but basically what Mr. Roberts just shared, we're doing the same thing here at the middle school.
Thank you, Mr. Coates, and thank you, Mr. Roberts. I appreciate you sharing what you're doing. It's, I think it's very interesting that the middle and the high school has seen the highest performance they've seen in the last 5 years, and you couple that with some of the work they're doing trying to capture these students that are in need and some of the students that struggle from factors that really impact their performance. And when we talk about meeting one-on-one and setting up monthly meetings and weekly meetings and discussing students by name that we're having issue with, it shows the personal touch and the link that we're going to, trying to create that safety net and catch those students that may need just a little bit of help or may need a little bit of support. From a McKinney-Vento standpoint, from homeless to students that are struggling with absenteeism, it's just amazing the work that's going on. So thank you guys for taking your time and sharing some of the amazing things that you're doing. So next slide. All right, this time we'll get to hear from our principals. This is where the rubber meets the road. They received their allocation, like I had mentioned earlier, the amount that's taken off from district set aside that we use at the district level, and that covers Ms. Smith's portion of her salary, McKinney-Vento funds, parent involvement coordinator funds. Once that money's removed, the rest of the money goes out to the schools, and they get their money based on the number of students they have that fall below the poverty level, and it's multiplied by a per pupil allocation that's the same for all 3 schools. So the higher the poverty, the more money they receive, and they do a fantastic job with the money they receive. One of the requirements that they're required to do is also they have a similar group that meets at the local school level. It's truly a grassroots initiative where they talk with community members and parents and teachers within their school about, we receive X number of dollars. This is how we're using them. Here's the data and what it's showing that we're getting done with those dollars. And then they provide input for how they can improve through surveys, input from the group itself whenever they meet. They take and digest all of that information, and then they use that to create a plan of how they're going to use those federal dollars. So at this time, turn it over to Flat Rock Elementary School Principal Miss Christy Dodd, and she can share with you the amazing ways they use their Title I funds.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending this afternoon. I do want you to know that attending in my office with me today is Darla Moore, who is our reading interventionist and a parent in our building. Amy Miller, who is our STEM coach. Carly Heron, who is our reading coach and a parent in our building. And Andrea Lawless, our school counselor. Okay, next slide, please. I think it's 2 slides. One more. Thank you. Okay, so like Dr. Nixon said, we are able to fund salaries much needed due to this Title I money. And a lot of our Title I funds go to this very thing. At Flat Rock Elementary School, we are able to provide a 4th first grade teacher and a 4th second grade teacher because of Title I. And with the recent increase in our student population, this has afforded us the ability to keep our class size relatively small, and we are very thankful for that. And it also funds our reading interventionist position, and she works with all grade levels. Next slide, please. One of the areas that we spend our money is STREAM, that is science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and math. Some of the ways we use that money are STEM kits for students to use in the classroom and in the STEM class. We provide robotics for our children, math manipulatives, consumable materials that can be used. We have will host a family STREAM night this year. It is being sponsored by Duke Energy, and we've just celebrated our National STEM Day. Next slide, please. I tend to put as much money as I can into instructional materials so that our teachers always have what they need to be able to best teach our children. We provide consumables as needed, and consumables can be anything from paper, pencils, crayons, glue, markers, workbooks, just any type of material that you can think of. We also, in instructional materials, include books to support classroom instruction. We also support our Battle of the Books initiative that we have, and any other instructional materials like novels or test prep books or anything like that that we might need. Next slide. We do spend some money on technology. Like Dr. Nixon said, we are very thankful that they provide our Chromebooks for us, but we are still purchasing interactive panels and carts. At Flat Rock, I am happy to report that we have all new panels and carts. We have a couple that are going to be delivered in the next couple of weeks, and that will get us 100%. We also use some other tablets, the Lenovo Duets. Our teachers who teach Reading Horizons use those in the classroom. We're always needing to replace Chromebook accessories, and we always need headphones for our students to use in the classroom. Under programming and subscriptions, these are just some of the things that we fund. Progress Learning, Reading Eggs, Math Seeds, iExcel, and a new program for us this year is Vocabulary. And these programs all are important because they all offer us the ability to enrich grade level instruction, but they also give us an opportunity to remediate for students and to enrich for students as well. Next slide, please. We also offer a lot of literary support through this budget. We use reading material for the classrooms. I allow teachers to purchase books that best fit the needs of their students in their classroom so that they have some choice about what is going in their classroom. And then we always provide money for our library every year so that we can keep the age of that collection as new as possible and relevant for our students so that they will want to read and check out books. Next slide. These are some new school initiatives that we have. SHINE, this is actually the 3rd year of SHINE, which is our intervention. And you can see that that stands for students having intervention needs met and enrichment. The theme of our school this year is Where the Sun Always Shines, because we wanted to honor the work that we are doing in our intervention system, because we absolutely believe that our shine time is at the top of why we are being successful at Flat Rock. We also have a Shine Club that will meet this year at the end of a cycle so that children will get to choose on a club day just some fun things that they want to do as a reward for working so hard. We've also initiated a behavior block party for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, giving them an opportunity to earn this party through their behavior. And I'm going to tell you that our referrals show that those incidents have decreased and our students are doing really well with that. We are also working on an initiative for our attendance. We didn't like the trend that we were seeing. And so our Flamazing attendance has gotten a lot of attention and we are having fun with it, but we reward that monthly by class. And that is something we pay attention to every day. We are also doing assemblies this year as an initiative for MAP to encourage our students to do their best. I'm very proud that this year we have a very active leadership group. I've always said there may be one principal in the building, but there need to be several leaders, and we have representation from every group and grade level in our building, and we meet monthly to make collaborative decisions for our school. And lastly, I'd like to talk about iLead. We were given an opportunity this summer to participate in this program, and it's a leadership program for our students. And Andrea Lawless, our school counselor, is leading 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade through this iLead curriculum and program. And we expect to see a lot of improvement in problem solving and conflict resolution and just general behavior to come out of this. And we're very, very excited about that. Next slide, please. These are just some of the things that we do to keep our school community involved. Of course, we start the year with a back to school night. We just had a very successful trunk or treat. We have had our fall family literacy night, another standing room only event. We continue to have an incredible partnership with Michelin in their Challenge in Education program, where they provide mentors and tutors in our building. We also continue to have a great relationship with several local churches and the Reading Buddies. We've just completed National STEM Day. In the future, we will be having family stream nights. Each 9 weeks, we honor our honor roll students and terrific kids. We invite their parents in for that celebration. We are getting ready to host fall field days for our students. We are also actively involved with the teacher cadet program at the high school, as well as our local colleges. Specifically, we have a cohort with Clemson University. And then I would like to add to that this year we have an incredible partnership between Stepping Stones, the Board of Education counselor, and our school to provide more mental health opportunities for our students. And so we do realize that in order to teach that whole child, we're needing to provide those services. And again, we are very, very thankful for those and very thankful for the involvement that our families and our district and our community have in our school. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Austin Powell. I'm the principal over here at Iva Elementary School. At the end of each school year, we take our spring survey results. That survey goes out to all of our elementary school parents here at Iva, at Star, and at Flat Rock. And we take that data and we kind of look back at the year, and then we try to use that to kind of go ahead and plan and make some adjustments for the next year's Title I budget. So in that, if you'll go ahead and go to that next slide, the biggest amount of money goes to salaries and benefits for 1 2nd grade teacher, 1 4th grade teacher, and our reading interventionist. Just some quick stats for you. Without that extra 2nd grade teacher, we would be at a student teacher ratio of 29-1. With her, we are able to drop that class size down to only 19 students, which is great. And then in 4th grade, it's about the same. We're looking at 18 students per class. Without him, we would have 27 students in each classroom. So you do the math there, you're looking at about 10 students difference. And we all know that makes a huge, huge difference in what those teachers can do in those classrooms and the impact they can have. Obviously our reading interventionist, she meets with all grade levels, kindergarten through 5th grade. She does a lot of pull out during our intervention blocks. And then she also does some push in for some reading classrooms as well. As far as instructional materials go, we do make sure we provide any supply need for all grade levels, whatever that may be. I mean, all the way from pencils, dry erase markers, anything like that. We try to make sure teachers don't have to spend money out of pocket for that. One different thing we've done this year is we've provided some more materials and books for intervention. In those pictures you see there, the box in the top right, our 5th grade math students actually created their own trunks and designed those out of shoe boxes, and they each had a theme. So that was one of them. Her theme was camping. I thought they all looked, there's a ton of pictures. I would love to have shared with you all of some of the things that they had done in that intervention block with those shoe boxes. But that's just one of the things that they do. Also this year, we've added some novel studies, some book clubs, as they would otherwise be known. You see Miss Brewster there with the group of 3rd graders. They have been diving into the wild robot. We are doing that book study in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And then 1st grade students, they purchased Judy Moody. So we are doing that with them. As far as math goes, we have some extra math enrichment materials. That all, it basically comes from Math Olympiads, which is a math competition program that we use here. Stole that from Miss Grice at the middle school. It's real big there with her, with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so we hope it makes a difference. Our 4th and 5th graders participate in that. They do monthly competitions with that program. And then Scholastic. We have actually got Scholastic materials for all grade levels now. We use Let's Find Out for our kindergarten classrooms, and then Scholastic News for 1st and 5th grade. And then Super STEM as well for Miss Stone in our STEM classroom for related arts. What we love about those is it's like newspaper based, and so it puts materials in the students' hands. And you know, it's a hard copy, and it is cool for them to have that and to be able to use as a resource and to do different projects and things with that on as well. So as far as subscriptions go, we have kind of stuck with what we've always done in the past. This is one of the things that I heavily survey our teachers on and make sure that we are all kind of on the same page. And I've kind of actually gone back and forth several times with a few folks just to make sure, like, hey, you still need this, you still need this. And so we've stuck with Progress Learning for 4th grade science. We use IXL Science and Social Studies for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Just as another supplemental resource there. We use Reading Eggs and Math Seeds in K-5 and 1st grade. And then a couple of other game-based computer programs that we do use at just about all grade levels. I know specifically in 2nd through 5th are GimKit and Bookit. And then we also use our Title I funds to purchase any kind of back-to-school materials that we would need for that back-to-school night, and then agendas and Friday folders. Classroom libraries and school in our school library. One of the big chunks of change goes to Battle of the Books. Ms. Fortner also mentioned to me that we did use some of the extra Title I money that we had available to purchase novels for the A3 chapter book challenge. I think each student needed to read 20 of those. And so we were able to pick up some more chapter books for those students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. In those pictures, you're going to see a lot of stuff that was dedicated to our National STEM Day. So, you know, stream supplies are massive, and Ms. Stone does a great job in utilizing those funds and these resources that we provide. And as you can see in those pictures, Wildlife Geeks in that bottom left, they bring all kinds of different animals to show to the students. You see a student there holding a snake. And then in the middle there, Mr. Stone likes to bring some of his equipment, some excavators, backhoes, things like that, and it helps the students kind of learn and use those for STEM Day as well. And then Miss Simpson up in the top right, we were able to coordinate her for STEM Day as well. She comes every single year and the kids love it. That is just a small little snippet though of our massive STEM Day that we do that Miss Stone plans every single year, and it's awesome. As far as technology goes, we were actually okay this year on panels, thankfully. So mainly technology funds were used specifically for headphones. One of the new things I think all of our elementary schools are kind of running, or I guess a new problem that we're running into, are headphones with the microphone, map reading fluency, and then there's a couple of other programs that like to hear the students speak. So that is something we are trying to make sure we change, especially in K-5, first grade and second grade, is adding those new headphones with the microphone, and then document cameras. We're kind of getting out of the Elmo phase as we move into using Promethean panels. And so we're having to switch those to the IPEVO document cameras. So that is we're kind of where our technology funds went to. And our last slide there at the bottom, you see our total allocations. These were, I listed some involvement opportunities that we specifically use our Title I funds for. So we did use those for our school-wide trunk or treat, National STEM Day, Fall Literacy Night, and upcoming, we've got 2 more events. We'll have our Jingle Jam in December, and then our Spring Stream Night in April. And that is all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right. Thank y'all so much.
Good afternoon. This is Ashley Hatcher, principal at Star Elementary. Joining me today from Star, I have Ariel Davis, my assistant principal, Tanya Barber, our school counselor, Terry Ivester, our reading coach, Stephanie McClellan, our reading interventionist, and Lori Hemmer, our parent, representing as a parent. And so thank you all for joining us today for our Fall Federal Programs meeting. I am excited to share some of the things that we have going at Star Elementary and other things that we have planned for the remainder of the year. Next slide, please. So we do use a big portion of our funds for salaries and benefits. We have an additional first and second grade teacher, as well as our reading interventionist. We really believe in, as the other principals have said, the smaller class sizes or reducing those numbers really makes a huge difference, especially in those lower grades. We are able to provide more small group and individualized instruction for our students and fill those gaps as quickly as possible, while also providing targeted instruction for our students that need enrichment and to be moved to that higher level. Our reading interventionist, Stephanie McClellan, she serves K through 5, but really focuses mostly for K through 3rd grade. And during this time, she's pulling small groups, she pulls individual students, and she is really focusing on those skills that our students are lacking to become proficient readers and writers. And so you can see in the pictures, that's one of our first grade classrooms at the bottom. And again, just reducing those numbers really helps our teachers be able to hone in on what those students need. They're able to, you'll see Miss McClellan in one of the pictures. That is one of her small groups that she is providing intervention to. And again, just helping our students and meet their targeted needs. And so these positions make a tremendous difference in our building, and we're very appreciative for these funds because we know they are part of the success here at Star. Next slide. For the remainder of the slides, as the other principals have said, we use a survey, our parent surveys as well as staff surveys, to really guide where our money goes. And so for instructional materials, all grade levels are able to share what their needs are. And so we want our teachers to be able to provide those engaging lessons for our students. So we want to take the material side and be able to provide as much support and help as possible. So it could be chart paper, markers, construction paper, paint, glue sticks, whatever the project may be that they're doing with their students. Teachers, they provide that informational survey so that we're able to support and help in that area. We've also provided books, resources, and manipulatives for our Tiger Time. This is a new 45-minute block that we have from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade, where students' needs are being met, whether it's their academic needs or social, emotional, behavioral needs. And so we're able to provide in a very small group setting, we're able to provide that intervention or enrichment. And so that, with that new block, we do have some needs. And so that's where we have provided books and resources and manipulatives for that time. With this money, we also provide consumables for our instruction and then also decodable readers and materials for take-home materials to really be able to provide support and between the school and the home. And so those are some of the instructional materials that we have purchased and used so far. Next slide. You'll see some of the subscriptions that we utilize at Star Elementary. Again, as Austin was saying, really looking at where we're using these funds and that these subscriptions are being used. And so we have iExcel for science in 4th grade. We use Generation Genius in 5th grade for science. And for kindergarten, we use Reading Eggs and Math Seeds. School-wide, we use Vocabulary and Reflex Math, as well as GimKit. So those are some of the subscriptions that we have. You can see in the pictures, there are different ways that we utilize this technology in the classroom. One student, you can see her enjoyment. She is doing work as individually on the computer. The picture at the bottom, you'll see 2 students that are competing, doing a game during one of the small group activities. And the picture in the right corner, you'll see a student that is presenting material to his class. So using that technology in different ways and really enhances the learning. Some of the things that we have replaced are headphones. We have needed the headphones with microphones for a lot of our students in intervention, as well as our ML students. So we want to make sure that they have the materials they need to use these programs. And then also replacing our Elmos with document cameras. So that is something that we've been gradually doing across the building this year. Next slide. So with our parent surveys, parents really want to be involved with their students' learning. So we wanted to try to provide as many opportunities as possible for our families. So these are a few things that we've had going on so far this year. So our back to school night, we provided materials and Friday folders to enhance and encourage the school to home communication. We had a great stream night and trunk or treat a few weeks ago. We had a lot of participation there where parents were able to enjoy STEM activities. I think we had 10 different STEM activities going on in classrooms where parents could build different structures with their students, where they were able to participate in experiments and different fun activities. And then they were also able to participate in our school-wide trunk or treat. And so that was a great event. We also have our 4th grade did a glow writing event where parents were able to see their students writing. And so it was at the library and they had all the lights turned off. And so everything was glow in the dark, from the writing to the painting, the paintings that were hanging on the wall. It was just a great event and a great turnout for our families. Apple Art, we have students from 3rd through 5th grade in Apple Art. And on STEM night, they were able to visit the art classroom to see their students' art project that they had been working on. And then our most recent event was our 5th grade Veterans Day event. They had a gallery where they were able to see different photographs and artifacts that students had brought in of family members or close friends. They were also able to design and decorate an ornament to take home and hang on their tree. And they were also able to enjoy snacks, cookies, and drinks with their family. So that was a great event as well. So you'll see some pictures, just a quick snippet of some things that's happened so far this year, and we're excited for what is to come. Next slide. So you'll see a lot of pictures from some of the events that I've already talked about, but some community involvement opportunities. Again, our back to school fun night. We were fortunate to have Michelin sponsor this. It was a great time. We had blow up activities for the student, bounce houses for the students to jump on. We were able to ride pizza for our families, and then fun activities as well as visit their students' classroom. So this was a great night for our families. We also had Shine Night, which was during Hurricane Helene. It was just a time for our families to come in and enjoy a hot meal, as well as have fun outside. We had a movie going in. We had a movie playing in the gym if they wanted to stop by and see the movie. We were giving away books. Just another great time for our families to come in and be able to provide them with, again, a hot meal and support during that time. We also were fortunate to have the Crescent cheerleaders and football team come and they were playing sports with our kids in the back. They were teaching them cheers, just a great way for our students to interact with the high schoolers, and so really that community feel. We also have had grandparents breakfast in our book fair this year. That was a great turnout where they were able to come in and enjoy breakfast with their student. We're excited about our Star Squad. So this is built with our parent volunteers. One thing our parents really want to be involved in their child's learning, and they are willing to volunteer and help out in any way possible. And so we've been able to really build a group that's willing to come in, whether it's help volunteer and read with students, help with school events. Ms. Lori Hemmer is in charge of that, and she did a great job with our trunk or treat event. So that is a great help and a great way to just provide community and parent involvement in our school. We're also on our second year of our mentoring program that Ms. Barber does with our community members and parents. So we have different members that come in and they support students in our school that may need a little extra motivation or attention. And our students really look forward to each week when their mentor comes in to eat lunch or to attend recess with them. And so this is a great opportunity for our community members as well as our parents to help our students. We've had mystery readers this year come in and read with our students. We've also had our honor roll and terrific kid breakfast. As Ms. Davis mentioned, we've had muffins with moms and donuts with dad for our K-4 program and had a great turnout there. And then we are also looking forward to our family fun night in December. This time we're wanting our students to understand that our community gives a lot to us, but we want to be able to give back to our community. So they're going to be able to go to different stations, and some stations are for fun, like cookie decorating and making ornaments, but other stations we want them to be putting together service projects. Like one of the projects is for them to put a care package together for our local nursing home. So different ways for them to see and learn how important it is for us to give back to our community as well. So we're excited about that night. And again, this is just a snippet. You'll see some of the pictures that we have from the different events and some of our visitors and community members who have been able to give their time with our students. And we're just very appreciative because it really does make a difference. Our students, they love seeing the guests come read to them. They love their mentors coming to spend time with them. And it really does make a big difference in educating the whole child. And so we're just here at Star thankful for our community. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I mean, it's absolutely amazing whenever you hear the amazing things that are going on in our elementary schools. It's impossible not to hear about it and think that's a great place for kids to go to school every day, have a culture that's inviting, wonderful, and their performance is exceptional too. I mean, our elementary schools continue year after year to perform in the top tier of elementary schools in the state of South Carolina. And very proud of that performance and very proud of what you guys are accomplishing using the federal funds that you receive. The next program we're going to talk about is Title II. And Title II, if you click that hyperlink at the top of the slide, it kind of will take you to basic information, but I can give you a 5,000-foot view. Title II can be used to reduce class size and can also be used to support teachers through professional development or other programs that helps them become better teachers or stay in the profession. So salary and fringe, we use a good bit of our Title I funds to pay for the salary and fringe of a teacher at one of our elementary schools. And then the remainder of those funds are used as a stipend for 8 mentor teachers for our induction teachers. Induction year is a hard year for teachers. First few years are hard years for teachers. If you go to the U.S. Department of Education's webpage, they have a briefing. It's called A National Conversation About Teaching, and it goes into detail about some of the reasons people leave the profession, and nearly 50% of all new teachers leave the profession within their first 5 years. And one of the things they cite is lack of support. So Anderson 3, we work very, very hard, and Dr. Smith works very, very hard with that program to provide great mentor teachers to be a sounding board and someone for them to go to for advice, or instructional strategies that they can use. And it's a great program that gives a great base and a foundation for a very difficult year for a lot of teachers. And I think that's money well spent and directly in line with the intent of Title II funding. Next slide, please. Title III. So moving forward, we have Dr. Laura Beth Smith that's going to be speaking to these programs. She works very intimately with Title III, 4, and 5, and it dovetails into other portions of her job. She does a great job with these programs, but I'm not going to steal any of her thunder by talking about it. I'll let her allude to it. And at this time, we'll hear from Dr. Smith.
Good afternoon. I am going to be speaking about Title III. Title III is our MLL program, and that's multiple language learners. This program has evolved from, we started with ESOL, English as Second Language Learners, then it was EL students, English language, and now it's MLL. And we actually received a document from the State Department, and it was a district memo that stated that we should begin calling this group of students MLLs. So we have 2 teachers that work with these groups of students. We have Ms. Heather Smith that works at all 3 elementary schools. And we also have Mr. Kel Simpson, who is at the middle school and the high school. Work very closely with them. We work on the assessments for these students. We work on placement for these students. And this population of our students is actually growing. And so we work with this consortium, and we receive this year for 2025, our allocation is going to be $7,728. We're a member of this consortium with Anderson School District 5. We work with them and to best use these funds. It's done to combine resources and provide better services through our MOA, Memorandum of Agreement. They can be transferred to the consortium. Can you move to the next slide? As you can see, this year, this MLL program, Title III, they were very specific on how they would like for us to spend this money, and this money will be used very efficiently. As you can see, purchase services, we will spend $5,350 of this to help us with our ILAPs. Those are where we house all of our students' data for access testing. We have testing accommodations that's stored. This is document storage, record keeping, and parent communication. All parent communication is done through this program. And we'll use that bit of money for that. And then next, we had to come up with a way to, we were asked to support family literacy, family engagement. And I reached out to the elementary teachers, principals, and Ms. Heather Smith and asked how would they like to spend this money. And we felt like a good way to use this money was through literacy and working with students and how we can send home some reading information to students. So we're going to work with these students, and we're going to send home bilingual family reading packs. Ms. Dodd helped me find these. These are packs to be sent home to 4K MLL students. This will promote a shared reading program within the home. We're going to target the ages 3 to pre-K students in our district. And lastly, travel to and from professional development. Any professional development that's offered by the state or through a conference, such as the ESOL conference. This is a conference that's held every year. Ms. Heather Smith, she attended this conference last year. We're hoping to possibly attend another conference, but these are 3 different categories that the State Department states that we have to write into our budget. And I feel like we're using we're using this money to the best of our ability. So if you have any questions about Title III, please let me know. I'm happy to help. As you can see, I asked Ms. Heather Smith and Mr. Kel Simpson to update our numbers. Currently, Heather Smith is serving 62 students. We have some students that are monitored. Once they no longer have to take the access testing, they move to monitored. But she actually serves 62 students during the week at all 3 elementary schools. Mr. Simpson, he serves 33 middle school and 24 high school. And as you can see at the bottom, you can see the languages in which these students speak. Spanish, as you can see, is the highest. We have most students that speak Spanish. followed by Russian and Ukrainian. And you can see the rest of those. But Heather and Kel do a fantastic job helping us with working with these students, these MLL students, to receive the best services that we can provide. Okay, so that was Title III. We're going to move on to Title IV. As you can see, the allocation for this year is $70,115.42. This was a little bit less, but you'll note in the next slide that Title V, we received more. This provides 21% of salary and fringe for a string teacher to work with students in 4K to 5th grade at all 3 elementary schools. You have already heard about all the fantastic and great things that all 3 of our string teachers have done this year and will continue to do, and all the things they've already done. We're only halfway through the school year, and you already heard about string nights and string days and literacy nights, and they've all worked very, very hard to make sure that we have a great program. And they work with students all the way from 4K all the way to 5th grade, and that provides part of their salary for that. Just a little bit more about string program that may have already been mentioned, but there's some dates in here that I want to share for the school year. Remember, we have a string teacher at each school. We celebrated National String Day on November the 8th, and we have nights that celebrates National String Day. Our competitions, we have been involved with VEX Robotics, Jet Toy at the elementary schools, and Glider at the middle school. For the 3rd year in a row, we're partnering with AIT, Anderson Technology Center, and First Quality provide VEX robots, professional development, and we'll have competitions. Now we'll have scrimmages, and we'll have an actual competition that students can move on to regionals, and then even a national competition. So our scrimmages, these are the dates, January 16th and 17th. One of those days is just for middle school, and then the other day on the 17th is just for the elementary schools. All schools will have teams to compete at the scrimmages. It's a little more laid back. It's really more just learning about what a competition actually looks like. So if you have new students that have never been to a competition, they get to learn what it's really going to be like, so that when we have that competition on January the 25th at AIT, which is a Saturday, they'll be more prepared. And I feel like this has been a great partnership. It is a lot closer. We were having to drive farther for these competitions, and we work very closely with AIT and with Anderson Schools 4 and 5. And those they will have teams that will be present at these competitions and the scrimmages. And we provide this at no cost to our students. We provide transportation, we provide their lunch, and a t-shirt and a fun day. Another date I'd like to mention, we've already decided our string camp. That will be May 27th through June the 4th. That will be at Flat Rock Elementary this year. This will be the first time we've had a camp at Flat Rock Elementary, but we'll also run summer reading camp at the same time. So it'll be a good way to house all these camps at the same place. So really looking forward to that. The summer is always a fun time. There's my contact information. Happy to answer any questions about string. We can move to the next slide, please. In Title V, that is, our allocation was $120,855. These funds will be used to partial for string coordinator and string supplies. Allocations for this supplies include using in the art classrooms, string classrooms, chorus and band classrooms. We've really been trying to improve our music program and really putting some more funding in that. And anything from Star Island Middle School received a kiln last year that they'll be using, to some VR headsets at the elementary school, to new instruments in the middle school and the high school, and some music for the chorus program. We do a really good job at the beginning of the year. I asked for, a budget and some needs. What do you need this year? And we really look at those, and we meet and we talk and try to make sure that we use those funds to the best of our ability and the best way that we see fit for the school. I know the music program at the high school, we all met together so that we would make sure that we were all on board, that we try to choose things that everyone at the high school could use. New sound equipment, new microphones, and everybody will have access to those. So we've really been trying to make sure that we use those funds so that everyone will have an opportunity to use the equipment. So next slide. And I added some pictures. I reached out to all the groups and said, hey, send me your best picture. And you can see there's a STEAM camp picture up top and then that band picture in the middle, which is fantastic. They've had a very successful year. And then the other picture is from the AIT robotics competition last year. That was a lot of fun. And then you can see another picture of the band with their medals. And then a few weeks ago, the strings, they performed at the Veterans Day program. As you walked into the gym, they did a fantastic job that morning. I really enjoyed that. And the Tiger was there to cheer them on too. So that was a very exciting morning, and all the groups did a fantastic job that morning. We heard from the strings group, we heard from chorus sing, and we heard the band play, and it was a great representation of our music program for both our middle school and our high school. And they deserve all the credit and all the recognition for all their hard work. So I really appreciate them. And if you have any questions about Title 3, 4, or 5, please reach out to me or Dr. Nixon, and definitely take any feedback that anyone has. I believe in asking for help. And if there's any way that you believe that we can use these funds better or any way that can improve our program, I'm open to suggestions and any ideas you have.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I would put our STREAM program and I would put our fine arts programs up against any district in the state of South Carolina. Our STREAM program has grown dramatically in the last 7 years, thanks to the leadership of Dr. Smith and our administrators in the building. Business and industry leaders tell us time and time again in meetings and roundtables that we have with them, they want students that can work cooperatively, think for themselves, problem solve. There is no better conduit to provide students those kind of opportunities than STREAM opportunities. The ability to work with small groups, work with other people, communicate better, problem solve, all those things are STREAM is a direct conduit to provide students with those opportunities. So thank you for those opportunities for our students. And our fine arts program, our administrators have put resources into those programs, have hired exceptional people, and that we now have award-winning programs in all of our fine arts programs. And so very proud of that group. And I know tonight our string program is presenting at Crescent High School. So if you have an opportunity, I'll never forget last Christmas, I went to a music performance, and the people that were sitting in front of me, I heard them say to each other once it was over, they said, I paid tickets to go see stuff that wasn't as impressive as that. So that made me smile, thinking that we're providing that kind of opportunity for our students and those opportunities for our community to come and experience some amazing things our students are doing. This slide has links to our fiscal year 25 plans. You'll see that the links are not available for Title III or Title V because those plans have not been approved at the state level yet. The allocation is there, and you heard about those in the individual slide presentations, but we will make those slides available. This is a living document, so once you have access to it, any adjustments or changes that are made will go live once the changes are made. And we will also send you an email to everyone in this committee letting you know once those fiscal year 25 plans are available. Mentioned some oversight, mentioned Dr. Smith, mentioned Ms. Cheryl Smith. One thing that I did want to mention in regards to federal programs, I talked about the dollars and the requirements that are there. One of the requirements is inventory requirements. Everything that comes in is purchased with federal dollars that's over a value of $100 or has a life greater than 3 to 5 years has to be tagged and put in a one-to-one computerized inventory system. Those inventory systems are kept up with every year. They're reconciled at the end of the year, and then spot checks are done in the fall and the spring for all resources that are purchased with federal dollars. So That's one last thing I wanted to mention. That's a very, very important programmatic part and an important part for the audit process that that we have to face every 3 to 5 years. And wanted to remind everyone that on December 12th, the State Department will be sending representatives to come and do our state and federal audit. They'll go through all of our programs, meet with individual people, and the input that this group provides right here is very, very valuable to us to help provide the answers that those guys need for information on how we can better spend federal dollars. Next slide, please. That concludes our presentation. At this time, we'll open the floor up to anyone that has questions. But before we do that, I did want to just send a heartfelt thank you for the time that you've spent today. We try to keep it around an hour, and we're a little bit over today, but I feel like the information that's shared has been very, very valuable, very, very insightful, and very encouraging to me to work for Anderson School District 3. We are the best school district in the state of South Carolina. I would put us up against most of the school districts in the nation. And what we're doing with the resources that we have and achieving the level of achievement that we have with the amount of poverty that we have within our attendance area, we are a statistical anomaly. And that goes to the hard work and dedication of our faculty and staff in the schools and the work that gets done in the trenches each and every day. Our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, everybody, it's a joint effort, and I'm proud to be a part of that team and proud of the people that presented today. Very passionate about what we do. We love children, and we're always going to make decisions that are in their best interest. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I would like to say something real quick. From the band, I definitely appreciate, all this work for these federal funds. Just our success and accolades that we've been able to achieve is a lot of direct purchases and things that we have bought using Title IV and V funds through our sound equipment instruments that we're able to put in students' hands. And a lot of that success would not be possible without those funds.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Waters. It does my heart good to hear someone that's actually using them with students and changing lives on a daily basis, because I know the impact you had. You were at the board meeting last night getting recognized for the amazing achievements you and your group have done. And yeah, for you to say that means a lot. So thank you for your kind words. We're glad to serve you because you're definitely serving the students. Anyone else? Well, guys, thank you again for your participation. Again, this is the end of this meeting, but it's not the end of the communication. If you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions, if you have any contacts for us, if you know someone that helps out, wants to help out and be a sponsor for McKinney-Vento, or someone that could work with Mr. Waters and his band group and help out with Title IV and V, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can send me an email. I'll make sure it gets to the party that it needs to, and we'll keep the communication going, and look forward to seeing you again in the spring for our spring federal programs meeting. Thank you again.